There is a question that has been bothering me for 30 years. My grandmother kept a house for 7 people on a budget that would make most people today laugh out loud. Her floors were spotless. Her windows were clear. Her kitchen never smelled. Her bathroom grout never turned black. Her mattresses lasted 40 years, and she did all of it in about 2 hours every Saturday morning without a single product from a store. I am Franny. I have been studying how American households ran before the cleaning product industry got its hands on us. And what I found is not just interesting, it is embarrassing, because the houses of 1950 were cleaner than our houses today, and we are spending more money and more time trying to keep up. Today, I am going to walk you through 17 things that every 1950s housewife did every single week, what replaced each one, and who got rich when it disappeared. Stay until the end, because number 1 on this list is the thing that will change how you feel about your entire home the moment you do it. Let's start with number 17. Every Monday morning in 1950, the first thing that happened in an American household was the mattress got pulled away from the wall and all the bedding came off. Not just the sheets, everything. The mattress was stood up on its side and left to breathe for 30 to 45 minutes while the windows were open. This was called airing the bed, and it happened every single week without exception. Here is why it mattered. A human body releases about 1 liter of moisture every night through sweat and respiration. That moisture goes directly into the mattress. When a mattress is never aired, that moisture builds up over months and years, and it creates the exact humid, warm, enclosed environment that dust mites and mold spores need to multiply. By 1975, the mattress industry had pivoted to selling waterproof mattress covers and specialty cleaning sprays to solve a problem that airing the bed prevented entirely. Today, the average American mattress is replaced every 8 years at a cost of $400 to $1,500. A 1950 mattress lasted decades. The difference is not the mattress. It is the weekly habit that disappeared. Number 16 is the window rinse. Every week, 1950s housewives wiped their windows with a solution of white vinegar and water and then dried them immediately with crumpled newspaper. Not paper towels, not Windex, not a microfiber cloth, crumpled newspaper. The ink on newsprint contains compounds that leave glass with an almost microscopic polish and prevent the static charge that attracts dust back to the surface within hours of cleaning. Modern glass cleaning products leave a thin surfactant residue on the glass that actually attracts dust faster after cleaning. The cleaning industry solved a problem their products created and then sold you the solution. The vinegar and water ratio that works is 1 part white vinegar to 4 parts water for general windows and straight vinegar for anything with hard water mineral buildup. The newspaper trick still works. Your grandmother was not being cheap. She was being correct. Number 15 is the cast iron seasoning. Every week, after the cast iron was washed with hot water and a stiff brush and dried immediately on the burner, a thin layer of lard or bacon fat was wiped into the surface while it was still warm. This is what kept cast iron non-stick for generations. Not cooking spray, not olive oil, animal fat with a high saturated fat content, which polymerizes at cooking temperatures and bonds to the iron at a molecular level to create a surface that genuinely releases food without chemicals. The cookware industry needed you to believe cast iron was complicated and difficult, because cast iron never wears out. A well-maintained piece of cast iron from the 1940s cooks better today than the day it was made. Teflon, on the other hand, degrades within 3 to 5 years and must be replaced. The math on who benefited from convincing American households that cast iron was too much trouble is not complicated. Number 14 is the baking soda drain flush. Once a week, without fail, every drain in a 1950s household got a cup of baking soda, followed immediately by a cup of white vinegar, left to fizz for 15 minutes, and then flushed with a full kettle of boiling water. This was not a remedy, it was maintenance. It prevented the slow buildup of grease, soap scum, and organic matter that eventually creates the blockages that require a plumber or a bottle of Drano. Drano was introduced to the American market in 1923, and its core ingredient is sodium hydroxide oil lye, which generates heat when it contacts water and dissolves organic matter. It also slowly degrades plastic pipes and creates toxic fumes in enclosed spaces. The baking soda and vinegar flush does not generate the same chemical reaction, but as a weekly preventive, it keeps organic buildup from ever reaching the level that requires a caustic solution. Your grandmother was not treating the drain. She was preventing the problem from ever existing. Number 13 is the copper and brass polish. Every week, any copper or brass in the house got a rub with half a lemon dipped in table salt. 2 minutes of work. Citric acid in the lemon dissolves the copper oxide that forms as tarnish, and the salt acts as a gentle abrasive. It leaves copper and brass with a warm, clear shine that commercial polishes cannot match, and without the petroleum distillates that commercial polishes leave behind and that require additional cleaning to remove. The commercial brass polish industry emerged precisely because Americans abandoned lemon and salt and then needed to buy a solution for the problem that abandoning lemon and salt created. Number 12 is the weekly refrigerator wipe down. In 1950, before modern frost-free refrigeration existed, every refrigerator got completely emptied once a week, every surface wiped with a solution of baking soda and warm water, and the rubber door gaskets cleaned with white vinegar on a cotton rag. This took about 15 minutes. What it prevented was the slow accumulation of food residue, mold growth on door gaskets, and the bacterial crossover between raw and cooked foods that occurs when spills are left to dry and harden over weeks. Modern refrigerators are sold with features designed to reduce the frequency of cleaning: frost-free coils, antimicrobial liners, adjustable humidity drawers. None of these features replace the 15-minute weekly wipe down that kept 1950s refrigerators clean. The average American refrigerator is now cleaned thoroughly about 4 times a year. The average 1950s refrigerator was cleaned every 7 days. Our refrigerators are not cleaner because technology improved them. They are dirtier because a habit disappeared. Number 11 is airing the rugs. Once a week in good weather, wool and cotton rugs came off the floor and went over a clothesline or a porch railing. They were beaten with a rug beater, a flat woven paddle, until no more dust came out. Then they were left in direct sunlight for 1 to 2 hours before going back inside. Ultraviolet light from direct sun kills dust mites, mold spores, and bacteria at the surface of the fiber without any chemical treatment. A 30-minute exposure to direct summer sunlight reduces the viable dust mite population in fabric by more than 50%, according to independent entomological research. The vacuum cleaner replaced the rug beater starting in the 1920s, and by 1950, vacuum cleaners were standard in American homes. But most 1950s housewives still aired rugs weekly in addition to vacuuming. The combination of mechanical removal and UV exposure that weekly airing provided is something no vacuum cleaner replicates. What replaced airing entirely was not the vacuum. It was wall-to-wall carpet, which cannot be aired at all, and which must be professionally cleaned at significant cost to achieve what a clothesline and an afternoon of sunlight accomplished for free. Number 10 is the salt scrub for cutting boards and wooden surfaces. Every week, wooden cutting boards and butcher block surfaces got a thorough scrub with coarse salt and half a lemon, rinsed with cold water and left to dry upright in the air. Salt draws moisture out of bacterial colonies living in the wood grain. The citric acid kills surface bacteria. The abrasion physically removes the top layer of contaminated wood fiber. This method was confirmed effective by food science laboratories at the University of California, Davis in the 1990s. Research that found wooden cutting boards cleaned with salt and lemon had lower bacterial counts than plastic cutting boards cleaned with dish soap and water. The plastic cutting board industry spent considerable marketing effort in the 1980s, convincing American households that wood was unsanitary. It was not true, but it was profitable. A wooden cutting board, properly maintained with weekly salt scrubs and occasional oiling with food-grade mineral oil, lasts a generation. A plastic cutting board scores deeply within months, harbors bacteria in the grooves, and must be replaced regularly. Number 9 is the weekly stovetop deep clean. In the era of cast iron and enamel stovetops, every week the burner grates came off, soaked in hot water with washing soda for 20 minutes, scrubbed clean, and put back. The stovetop surface was wiped down with a paste of baking soda and a few drops of dish soap, left for 10 minutes, and wiped clean. Every week, not when it looked bad. Every week. Washing soda is sodium carbonate. It is not baking soda. It is significantly more alkaline and far more effective at cutting through carbonized grease than any commercial degreaser sold today. It costs about $3 for a box that lasts 6 months of weekly stovetop cleaning. Commercial degreasers for stovetops cost $6 to $12 per bottle and are reformulated versions of the same basic alkaline chemistry packaged to justify a premium price. Washing soda was crowded off American store shelves through the 1970s and 1980s by commercial product expansion. It did not disappear because something better replaced it. Nothing better replaced it. Number 8 is the weekly furniture oil. Once a week, wood furniture got a light wipe with a cloth dampened in a solution of 2 parts olive oil to 1 part white vinegar. Not a heavy coat, a barely there wipe that left no residue. This kept wood hydrated, prevented the microcracking that eventually destroys wood finishes, and cleaned dust and fingerprints simultaneously. The oil penetrated the wood grain. The vinegar dissolved the surface grime. Commercial furniture polishers introduced silicone compounds in the 1960s that sit on the surface of wood rather than penetrating it. Silicone builds up with repeated applications, creates a plastic-looking surface, and cannot be removed without stripping the finish entirely. Once silicone polish has been applied to a piece of wood furniture repeatedly, it essentially cannot be restored. The olive oil and vinegar method your grandmother used caused no such buildup and actually nourished the wood at a cellular level. The commercial furniture polish industry convinced American households that their grandmother's method was primitive. The furniture from the 1950s that was maintained with olive oil and vinegar is still beautiful today. The furniture from the 1980s maintained with silicone polish is not. Number 7 is the weekly grout scrub. Every week, bathroom grout got a scrub with an old toothbrush dipped in a paste of baking soda and white vinegar. 3 minutes of work per bathroom. What this weekly habit prevented was the penetration of mold spores into the grout itself, which is porous and which, once colonized by black mold at depth, requires either chemical treatment or professional regrouting to address. Modern bathroom cleaning products are designed to treat mold that has already established itself in grout. They are reactive, not preventive. A weekly toothbrush scrub with baking soda paste costs nothing and prevents the condition these products treat. The grout cleaning industry, including grout pens, grout whiteners, mold-killing sprays, and professional regrouting services, is a multi-hundred-million-dollar category that exists largely because a 3-minute weekly habit disappeared from the American bathroom routine. Number 6 is the white vinegar fabric rinse. Before every load of laundry, a half cup of white vinegar went into the rinse cycle instead of fabric softener. White vinegar neutralizes the alkaline soap residue left by laundry detergent, which is what causes fabric to feel stiff and scratchy after washing. It also dissolves the mineral deposits from hard water that build up in fabric fibers over time and cause colors to look dull and whites to look gray. And it kills any mold or bacterial residue in the washing machine drum itself. The fabric softener industry emerged in the 1960s to solve a problem that cheap white vinegar already solved. Fabric softener works by coating individual fabric fibers with a lubricating chemical layer, a quaternary ammonium compound A that makes fabric feel soft but also reduces its absorbency over time and leaves a residue that builds up in the washing machine. A towel that has been washed with fabric softener for 2 years absorbs significantly less water than it did when new. A towel rinsed with white vinegar remains fully absorbent indefinitely. The vinegar also costs about 3 cents per load. Fabric softener costs between 20 and 40 cents per load. The American household switched to the more expensive option that created new problems while solving the original one less effectively. Number 5 is the weekly silver polish. Any silverware, silver-plated items, or silver jewelry in a 1950s household got a weekly polish with a paste made from baking soda and warm water, applied with a soft cloth, rinsed clean, and dried immediately. This prevented the heavy tarnish that commercial silver polish is designed to remove. Commercial silver polish contains mild abrasives that work by mechanically removing tarnish along with a microscopic layer of silver every time it is used. Weekly baking soda maintenance prevents tarnish from ever forming heavily enough to require abrasive treatment, meaning the silver is never worn down. Heirloom silverware from the early 20th century that was maintained this way still has its full weight and finish. Silverware from the same era that has been polished with commercial abrasive polish for decades is measurably thinner. Number 4 is the weekly vinegar floor mop. Hard floors in a 1950s household, wood, linoleum, tile, got mopped once a week with a solution of 1 cup of white vinegar per gallon of warm water, applied with a barely damp mop, never a soaking wet one. This cleaned, deodorized, and left no residue. Modern floor cleaners leave a cleaning agent residue that attracts dust and requires more frequent mopping to keep floors looking clean. The residue also builds up over time and creates a dull film that many homeowners then address by purchasing a floor stripper to remove the buildup that the cleaner created. White vinegar leaves no residue. It evaporates completely. The floor is cleaner after mopping and stays cleaner longer. Number 3 is the weekly window track and sill clean. Every week, window tracks and sills got wiped out with a damp rag and dried completely. This 2-minute task per window prevented the accumulation of dust, pollen, insect remains, and moisture that eventually creates the black mold colonies that grow in neglected window tracks. Window track mold is one of the most common sources of indoor air quality problems in modern homes and one of the most expensive to remediate when it reaches the point of visible black mold growth into the surrounding frame. The 2-minute weekly wipe costs nothing and prevents a condition that can cost thousands of dollars to address professionally. Number 2 is the Saturday morning whole house vinegar wipe. Every Saturday morning, without exception, every hard surface in the house, countertops, doorknobs, light switches, cabinet faces, appliance handles, faucets, got wiped down with a cloth dampened in a 50-50 solution of white vinegar and water. This took about 20 minutes for an average house. It was not cleaning in the sense of removing visible dirt. It was sanitation. It reduced the bacterial load on every contact surface in the house to near zero once a week, every week. Modern antibacterial wipes and disinfectant sprays are marketed as a daily necessity because the cleaning industry needs daily sales. A weekly whole house vinegar wipe that takes 20 minutes is not a product you can sell on a subscription. So it was replaced by daily use products that do not work as well and cost significantly more. White vinegar at household concentration kills the same spectrum of common household bacteria, including E. coli and Salmonella, as most commercial antibacterial surface sprays. Independent food safety laboratory testing has confirmed this. The commercial products add fragrance and colored liquid to justify a price that is several hundred times higher than vinegar per unit of cleaning power. And now we have reached number one. Number one is the one that will change how your house feels the moment you do it. And it is also the simplest thing on this entire list. In 1950, every American household that could manage it opened every window in the house for at least 30 minutes every morning, regardless of season, barring extreme weather, not to cool the house, not to air out cooking smells, as a deliberate practice of whole house air exchange, because the housewives of 1950 understood something that indoor air quality researchers did not formally document until the 1980s. The air inside a closed modern home is significantly more polluted than outdoor air. Indoor air contains off-gassing from furniture, flooring, cleaning products, personal care products, cooking byproducts, and biological material from occupants and pets, and it accumulates in a closed house to concentrations that measurably affect respiratory health, sleep quality, cognitive function, and mood. The Environmental Protection Agency has documented that indoor air pollution in modern American homes is typically 2 to 5 times higher than outdoor air pollution, and in some cases, significantly higher. Opening windows for 30 minutes every morning flushes this accumulated indoor air completely. It costs nothing. It requires no product. It cannot be patented or sold. It is the single most effective thing you can do for the health of everyone in your household, and it is the habit that modern central air conditioning, air purifiers, and HVAC filtration systems were marketed as a replacement for, while none of them replicate what fresh outside air exchange actually does. Your grandmother did not need an air purifier. She needed a window. She opened it every day. This Saturday morning, I want you to try something. Before you touch a single cleaning product, open every window in your house for 30 minutes, then make a simple paste of baking soda and vinegar and scrub your bathroom grout with an old toothbrush. Take your smallest rug outside and beat it against a railing. Wipe your windowsills out with a damp cloth. Do just those 4 things this one Saturday and pay attention to how your house feels by the afternoon. I think you will understand very quickly why the women who ran households in 1950 were not behind the times. They were ahead of an industry that had not yet figured out how to charge them for what they already knew how to do for free. Drop in the comments below and tell me which of these 17 habits you are bringing back first. I genuinely want to know. And if this video changed how you think about what is already in your home, hit that like button right now, because this kind of research takes real time and every like tells the algorithm that useful knowledge deserves to be seen.